Hello guys, how's it going? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this animation in Keyshot. For this animation you're going to need Solidworks and Blender, and we're going to do the cloth physics in Blender first. So let's begin. As you all know, us industrial designers, we don't really use Blender or 3ds Max or ZBrush for our modeling purposes. Instead we use Solidworks, Inventor, or Revit, or things like that. In my case I'm using Solidworks. And I'm not very proficient with Blender, so I'm going to be modeling the cloth hanger in SolidWorks first. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be modeling something super simple. We're just going to do 2 lines here, and I'm going to be making these two perpendicular and also equal as well. And I'm going to round them to 40. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to be doing a fillet here. Yes, sure. Let's do a smaller fillet. 5 is fine. And we're just going to exit out of the sketch. And I'm going to be making a base looking thing for it. So we're just going to be sketching a rectangle here. And let's just make this 65. And let's just make this 40. And that should be good for our sketching. And we go to features, we go to set, boss, and base, and I'm going to be choosing a circular profile, and we can do, for example, 5 or something lower. 2 sounds good. And I'm going to be extruding this rectangle here just to make it, I don't know, look more realistic perhaps. And I'll be just doing a fillet here, and there we go. Okay, so we're going to be using this as our object that the cloth is going to fall onto, like the video that you saw. So we're just going to have to save this as an STL file format. And we go to STL because the only format that I've found to be compatible with Blender from SolidWorks is STL. Please let me know if there is another format that you guys can use. But I personally don't know, so we're just gonna name it cloth hanger, and we're gonna be saving it. And yes, and all about this. Okay, we're just gonna be minimizing this for now, and I'm gonna be minimizing that one too. And when you open Blender, this is the first page that you see. If you haven't checked my last Blender video, go check it out. You can download Blender from blender.org. It's a free software. And it's super cool. There are tons of tutorials for it on the internet, on YouTube alone. And just go check it out if you want to. So we go to General. I'm not going to be needing this cube here. So I'm just going to be deleting the cube. Where is it? Delete. And I'm going to be importing my STL. So we go to Import, and we go to STL here. And I'm going to have to find the file first, and cloth hanger. There we go. It's it's like that. So you're just gonna have to rotate it. For that, you press R, and then that's the shortcut for rotation. And then if you press X, it will rotate on the X-axis only. So we're just gonna do something like that, and then we're gonna come here and then change it to 90 degrees. So it's sitting on the ground, and I believe this should be fine. Now for our cloth. One thing we can do do another import from SolidWorks if you have, say, a jacket, like you designed a jacket on SolidWorks, or you designed a pillow, or I don't know, whatever that you've designed. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to be using a plane that I'm going to be doing on Blender. So we go to Add, we go to Mesh, and then we're just going to click Plane, and then we have a tiny plane here. We can press S to scale it. Like so, and if you press S again and then press X, it's gonna be scaling it up and down on the X-axis. So that, and then we're just gonna make it a little bit lengthier. So we're just gonna press S and then Y to make it just taller. And that's basically our cloth or our fabric, whatever. And then we have to move this up like that, and then if you press G, you can move your object, and then if you press Z again, you're going to be able to move it only on the Z axis. So we moved it up a little bit. I think it needs to be higher. Again, Z, and then we're going to be doing G and then Y. Nope. There we go. Okay, and then we can do X to just like place it on top of our cloth hanger. I believe that is looking fine. So the next step is to add physics to both of these objects. So just like the water video that I did a while ago, you're gonna have to go to physics property. If you just hover over these little icons on the right side, it tells you what they are. So physics property is this big circle with a little circle spinning around it. So we're just gonna click on that, and while our plane or cloth or fabric is selected, we're gonna be clicking on cloth. So right now, Blender thinks that this is a cloth. So that's what we want. But look at what's going to happen. If you press play here, it's going to fall, and it's it's going really slow, and it's just going to boom, go. Okay, so we don't want that. We want the cloth hanger to be added as a collision physics object. So we're going to be clicking on the cloth hanger, and we're going to be adding a collision. So I'm going to just keep everything as is. And we're just going to look how it looks and see what's going to happen now. And it's just going to stay there. And why is that? It's because this is just one square. It doesn't have all those little dots and all those little triangles. It's just a plane. So we're going to need to subdivide this plane here. So for that, you have to go into edit mode. For that, you can either press tab, or you can go here where it says object mode and then change it to edit mode and select this one. And as you can see, it's just a rectangle. So we're going to be right clicking on our plane, and we go to subdivide. And as you can see, we have 4 rectangles now. Now that's not enough. We're going to be needing, I don't know, a lot. Okay, so it really depends on the power of your computer, of your processing system. But I suggest you do something between 50 to 70. 70 was a little heavy for my laptop, and if we're doing something like 70, then we can just like mask the individual squares and rectangles on Keyshot with the fuzz node. And that's what we're going to do. But if you want it to be more detailed, if you want to just have a more realistic cloth, just increase it to whatever your processing system allows. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be doing 40, for example. And remember, you can always increase the number of cuts later if you want to. And we're just going to press tab to get out of the edit mode. And if we go to the first frame and press play, watch what's going to happen. And that's exactly what we want. Now we can just move the cloth a little bit toward that side. So it looks more realistic. So we're just going to be pressing G, and then I think it's the X-axis. Yep. And we're just going to be moving it down there. And we're going to play it again. And as you can see, it looks pretty realistic, but wait for it. Oh, it ends at 250. So we're just gonna bring it down a little bit, so we don't have to wait for it to just fall. And let's play it again. And right now, the plane is just gonna collide with itself, and they're just gonna go into each other. If we increase the number of frames, you can see what I'm talking about. So for that, we have to enable self-collision. So again, we are clicking on the plane, and we go to the physics property. And then if you scroll down here and go to collisions, you can see there is a self-collision box here that you need to check. So if you check that, it'll look more realistic. It won't go into itself. It won't collide with itself, but it's going to need more processing power. So since we're here, you can increase the quality of these collisions to make it just look more realistic. And then if you scroll up, you can also increase the quality steps here. And it really depends on what kind of fabric you're doing. For example, the Blender itself has some presets for you. So if you go here, you can see we have cotton, denim, leather, and rubber and silk. So we're just gonna be doing cotton for now. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And then we're gonna have to change the stiffness and damping effects manually if you want to. So right now we have everything that we need. For stiffness and damping, the more you increase this, the thicker it looks like. I'll just make it harder to bend. For example, let's change this to 100, and you'll see the difference. Let's do 5, and let's change this to 20. And again, damping is similar to stiffness. So we're just going to be doing 3, for example, and we're going to go to the first frame and we're going to play it. And look what's going to happen. That's obviously not what we need, and that just looks really weird. It's not cotton. It's just, I don't know what it is. It just looks like a plastic sheet of, I don't know, something. So we're going to just go back to, we can do 30 here, and 30 here, and 30, and we can do 2. And we're going to change this to 15. So depending on what your material is, you need to play with these numbers and figure out which one is best for you. For the video that I did, I think I believe I did 100 for stiffness on all of them except bending. For damping, I think I did 50 or something. So it was pretty high to just make it look like it's a towel or something. So we're just gonna play and see what's gonna happen, and that's because of the damping effect. I'm gonna have to reduce that to say 5. And the more you subdivide, the more you subdivide your plane, the more realistic it's gonna look. So I'm also gonna change the bending to 0.2, and I believe it's better now. Okay, it's looking more realistic now, and that's what we need, obviously. And you can do something. You can increase the thickness of your plane if you want to, but just remember, in Keyshot, you're not going to be able to separate the surfaces because it's an animation, and you won't be able to separate it. So I'm going to be teaching you how to add the Solidifier modifier to your plane, but I'm not going to be using it. So you go to here, modifier properties, and we're going to be adding a modifier. And if you go to generate here, there's a solidify, and you can just make it look solid, and you can change the thickness of it. Let's do 0.01 meters, and I think let's do too thin. Let's do half, and let's see what it's going to look like. And as you can see, it's still doing its cloth physics things, but if you look at here, it's kind of bad. We don't want that, and that's because our levels is actually low. So if you go to, or the quality steps. So if you go to your physics properties and increase the quality steps to say something 10, that's again going to need more processing power, but it's going to make it a lot more realistic and a lot better. So I'm not going to play it again. And the next thing I want to show you, again, you go to modifier properties, and then you go to add modifier, and then you can add a subdivision surface. So if you do the subdivision surface, as you can see, we have rounded corners here. And that's what it's basically doing. You can subdivide your model with this subdivision surface thing. If you increase that, it'll just make it look smoother and more like a cloth. But I'm just gonna keep that at 1 for the viewport, which is what we're in it right now, and then the render can be 2, so that's fine. It'll just again require more processing power. So we're just gonna play the animation for 1 last time, and we check that everything is looking good. It's looking pretty okay, and as you can see, it's falling. It's because of the weight, I believe, that we added, and because of the steps, the quality steps that we added, so it's acting more realistic. So I'm just going to be moving it down a little bit here, so it won't fall off the hanger, And okay, it's looking good. When you're satisfied with all your numbers here, after you played with everything, you go down and then you go to, where's the tag? So here you can do 250 frames, you can do 500 frames, you can do 350. For the video that you saw, I did 600 frames, so we're just going to be doing, I don't know, 600 frames here too. That's going to take a little while when you press bake. So I'm going to stop recording and I'll be back with you guys in a second. As you can see, it's actually not taking that long, but I'll be back in a second. Okay, so now that it's baked, you can see that we have this bake here, and you can delete it if you want to rebake it, but we're not going to do that. And then again, just like my last Blender video, you have to extract this as, or export it as an alembic.abc format file. So we're going to do that, and I'm just going to save it on my desktop, and we're going to export the alembic, and it's going to take a few seconds. Well, it was relatively fast, and I'm going to minimize this, and we're going to open Keyshot. Okay, so now that my Keyshot is open, I'm going to be just dragging and dropping the alembic file into my Keyshot scene. I already have this scene set up from my other video, and it's going to take a little while. So now that it's set up, I can just duplicate the material and the textures that I made for my towel onto my new plane, and we're just going to go copy material, and we're going to paste material here. So I'm going to be hiding the old one, and this is what we have as of right now. And if you go to your animation here, you can see that you already have an animation in your animation timeline. So if you just play, that's what you saw on Blender, and this is pretty good. It's easy, and you can change the speed of your animation by changing the duration of your animation here. So I'm gonna be reducing it to 5, and so it just makes it faster, as you can see. And I'm just gonna be zooming in to show you how it looks like with like a shiny material, like something like metallic. So we're going to be clicking on it, and actually we can just go here and change it to something like that. Aluminum, as you can see, it's pretty choppy, and that's because of the subsurfacing that I was talking about earlier in the Blender part. And so the more you increase that subsurface, the smoother it will look like. Right now it just looks choppy and kind of weird. And you can just play with like other material just to see how it looks. I'm gonna do Control Z to go back to my main material, and I'm gonna be double clicking on it and go to Material Graph just to enable my fuzz node. And as you can see, it's already disabled, so I'm just gonna enable it here, and we have to run the geometry. It's gonna take a few seconds, and there we go. We have the material, and it's looking pretty good. I'm not gonna go over the fuzz node tutorial part of it. I was just going to show you what I was talking about in Blender, how it just adds a surface here, and you can't really do anything about it. Like if the fuzz node was covering all your surface, you wouldn't be able to just like change it for here or like disable it for here. So I suggest you also do just a plane without this solidify modifier in Blender, so that way it will be easier for you to just edit your materials in Keyshot. And if you pay attention to my cloth hanger, you can see that this one is already also very choppy. If you add, say, an aluminum to it, you can see that it's super choppy, and it's quite weird. I don't know what's going on there, but that's actually the first time I'm seeing that. It's giving it a cool effect. That's unwanted. So if you want to solve this problem of like choppiness in your solid that is not being animated, you just go to your scene, you click on it, and then you go to Tools, and you go to Edit Normals, and calculate vertex normals. And when you do that, you can apply it. It's going to take a few seconds to load and apply everything, and it's probably going to crash, but we'll see if it's okay. It did not crash. and that thing happened. I have no idea why. Let's change the material to something else. There we go. So I think it was the material. So as you can see, I think we have these lines here. Let's do just plastic, so we don't have the lines. So as you can see, it's not choppy anymore. It's actually pretty smooth, and that's one way you can do to make your STL models in Keyshot look smoother. And I learned it from someone on Instagram. It was a pretty cool trick, and that's it. That's it for the Keyshot. You have the option to animate these solid if you want to. You have the option to move it. You can, I don't know, change your camera. You can change your image styles, and that's basically it, guys. You can export this. Oh, one more thing I guess I have to mention is that when you have an animation that deals with a geometry node, if you play it, it's not gonna load the geometry at every frame. So if you change it to say like to a frame between 2 and 3 seconds, you have to load your geometry again to in order for Keyshot to show you the geometry. And when you render your animation, it wouldn't have that problem. It's actually going to render the whole animation with the geometry node. That's a no-brainer. But just keep that in mind that you're going to have to load your geometry every time you change your frame, and that's because of because to keep the processing power low. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions. I know it was a little hard and disconnecting for me because I'm not very proficient with Blender yet, as of right now. But I wanted to just show you these tricks and how to make this cloth physics animation in Blender and then take it to Keyshot. I know we don't use Blender a lot. We use Solidworks, and Solidworks is by far the worst software for organic looking stuff like clothing or backpack or pillows or things like that. So if you know how to use Blender or software similar to Blender, it would help you in the long run. And please let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. I'm going to be answering all your questions, and I'm reading all your comments. So don't hesitate to send me your file to see if there's anything wrong with it, or if you want me to take a look at it. And that's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye.